Yes, you lovely lot, we've got another video back on the couch, on the sofa, and we're going to go through different ways to source other than car boot sales. So obviously, it's great at the minute, it's summer, car boot sales are on, all the resellers are loving life. Sourcing out of our minds, we have got so much stock, probably we don't know what to do with it. But one day, those car boots will end, and what do we do when it does? One thing I've started doing is sourcing through different methods. So obviously you guys all know the methods, sort of charity shops, Facebook and other bits and bobs that you might be able to pick up from friends and family, but I'm going to focus on Facebook Marketplace and Vinted. Now I've been practicing this and sort of doing this a little bit on the side for the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to go through what I managed to pick up. Just like, I haven't been focused on it massively, just every now and again I'll see something on there and I'll go and pick it up. It's not been a massive like focus of mine, but it just shows what sort of stuff you can pick up, and the prices is pretty good. So let's get involved. So I am obviously sat on the sofa. That is one method, getting free stuff. This sofa was completely free. It needs a bit of a wash, a bit of a clean, but when I do clean it up and all the rest of it, I'll probably get about £50 to £100 for it, because it is a really old vintagey sort of leather sofa. Then they can fetch quite a bit of money. Now there's obviously some downsides to flipping sofas. There's obviously some downsides. Obviously it's great because you quite usually pick them up for free, but obviously you've got to factor in like travel costs, the fact you pretty much have to have a van, pretty much have to have somewhere to store it, like ideally in like a warehouse. I am in like the back of a shop right now, and we had to take the door off to get it in, so it's not ideal, and it won't be something I continue with really. But if you're someone that's fortunate enough to have somewhere to store sofas, so you have a warehouse, you are quids in, because there's big money in it. If you go on Facebook and type in sofa, you'll find so many for free. People just want rid of them, and if you have the time and the space to sort of store that and then clean them up, take good pictures and flip them on, you can make some serious money. There's people in sort of America, and there's definitely people in the UK doing it as well, but the ones I've seen mainly in America, they're literally flipping couches, like they call them over there, and they're making like 10k a month, which is crazy, and it is doable, but you do have to have the sort of resources and the facilities to do it, otherwise you're going to struggle. But sticking with Facebook Marketplace, the other bit is just picking up every other bit and bob that comes up. Bikes, got one there that I'll show you in a sec, and what I've been focusing on is toys. Toys are obviously great because we pick up toys at car boots, right? So they're not hard to sort of store and send and all the rest of it, and they do fetch a fair bit of money, and people want to get rid of them in the same way they do sofas, so you can usually pick them up pretty cheap. So I got this whole bag here for £10. I'll show you what's in it in just a sec. Now bear in mind, this cost me a tenner. I had to travel to go and get it, but I did pick up other stuff while I was in that area, so it's not that bad. But it's gonna look like a nightmare. It is basically a whole load of like figures, toy figures. I don't know if you can see that very well, but like there's Minions in here, there's Smurfs, there's Peter Rabbit. Now, like you look at that and you think that looks like an absolute nightmare, but it cost me a tenner, and there's definitely like 50 quid worth of toys in there if I separate and take the time to list. I don't know how much this is going to cost, but this is going to, you know, send and store so easily, it's ridiculous. And if it gets me like a quid, it's worth sort of doing it just as like the backup really. You could even sort of bundle it up on eBay, put like 10 things together. Maybe there's like certain themes, like the Minions, there's quite a few Minions in here. Sort of like bundle these up for like tenner and just sort of try and get rid of it that way. But it's just another option, another string to the bow, picking up toys off Facebook Marketplace. That was the first bag I picked up. And then we picked up another random bag with loads of goodies in it for £10 again. We've got a Woody. It's not amazing condition, it's one of those fabric ones. But again, paid a tenner for the whole bag, and he will probably fetch me about £5. So that's a pretty good start. Peppa Pig stuff, a random digger, pretty good. This will probably fetch me another £5. This will probably fetch me a couple of quid. It's nothing crazy, it's not really worth doing it to a lot of people, but I think, you know, just as backup stock, yeah, it's worth it for me. I have the space to store it, it's not that much hassle. All I've got to do is list it up, and if I want to book a bit of overtime, I now have the stock to do that. But yeah, in this same bag with cookbook, that's probably worth fuck all. But yeah, you are going to get some duds. Some of it is just going to go in the bin, like this is going to go in the bin, one of those poppers. There's 2 of them in there, they'll just go straight in the bin, won't even bother. But yeah, not bad. That again, I don't even know what it is, but again, it just fetches a few quid here and there. Like I say, you are going to get some duds. Some of it isn't going to be worth it. Again, Peppa Pig Rocket, that's got to be worth like 7, 8 quid, tenner, something like that. So it's not bad. Like I say, I'm not very good at the Facebook market pickups yet, but I'm just trying to learn the game and sort of pick up some stuff just to get into the habit of like using it as a resource and a way to get stock. So yeah, that's some of the toys I managed to pick up. You're never going to get the great flips like you can do at a car boot, so you're never going to get that £1 into £50 on Facebook. But it's just about getting that volume in and getting that extra stock. If you're struggling to find stock, Facebook is the place to go. I picked up this bike. It is that's just pure strength. It's a Giant bike, which is a really good brand. Yeah, can't really go wrong with that. I paid 25 quid. It needs a clean, it needs a wash, it needs a bit of a tidy up, but it's in perfect condition pretty much. It's a few years old, but that doesn't really matter. Clean it up, get it going, put it back on Facebook for probably about 70, 80 quid, and there's a nice like 50 quid clear profit in that. So yeah, really nice way of doing it. Facebook, back onto Facebook is a great method. That's the same what will happen with a sofa as well. Bikes and sofas isn't where that ends. You can do things like under-counter fridges can come up for free. People want rid of them. Washing machines, all this sort of stuff. Just be aware that like you might get lumbered with it, so just be careful. But yeah, it's just there's money everywhere. If you're willing, if you've got a little van, you've got a van, you know, or somewhere to store it, you can just nip out, go and get it, clean it up, and there's 50 quid made completely from nothing. So yeah, there's something to look into. And I wouldn't say it'd be a main method of sourcing. You might not want to do this all the time, but it is a great way just to get that little bit extra stock, especially when the car boots are finishing. It's all about just preparing yourself for when those car boots end, because I know last year when they ended, I was a bit stuffed. I was a bit lost of where to sort of source stuff from, because charity shops are great, but trying to get enough stock from charity shops can be tricky. So having as many strings to your bow is definitely important. Another thing I've been doing is Vinted, sourcing off of Vinted. So I managed to pick up these shoes for about 8 quid all in, delivered to my house, and they sold on eBay within like a couple of days for £18. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like 8 quid clear profit, just basically for buying something on the internet, taking better pictures of it, listing it on a different platform, and then sending it off. It wasn't a lot of work, and again, that is another thing I'm trying to learn. I'm not great at it. It's a really great way. Actually, I picked up this bag. It's a Carhartt brand new bag for about 8 quid all in, £5 and then plus your postage. And it's about a 50 quid bag. So there is definitely money in the Vinted flipping, so definitely look out for that. One method I found really good is if you search up, say, Nike shoes on eBay, go to the sold items and look for sold items that are around 20, 30 quid, and then look them up on Vinted and try and get deals that way. Sort of learn, that's how I've been trying to learn the game a little bit, and just sort of find things that are worth money, and then you can flip it onto eBay. But it's important you don't just go on Vinted to start buying stuff. You have to know the value and cross-reference it. When you find something on Vinted, double check it on eBay, see what that size, that colour sells for, and you'll be quids in. Just always proceed with caution, because obviously the fees and the postage can add up, so just be careful with that. You can get into things like iPhones as well, which is a really good method, but I don't really want to get into that because it's very risky. You got to like spend 150 quid to make 150 quid, but that's like a risk, right? You got to know what you're doing. I don't really know much about phones and all that rest of it, but for any of you that are really tech savvy, Xboxes, Wii's, PlayStations, iPhones, iMacs, you know, all this sort of stuff pops up on Facebook all the time. People get rid of it. If you know a lot about technology and all these different bits and bobs, I don't personally, but if you do, that is a great method, great way to get into flipping, and you can make very good money on it because you make like 150 quid a flip. So if you can just get one flip a day, you're doing pretty good. That is for the most part what I managed to pick up this sort of week and a half of just trying it a little bit. I think I've done all right. I've probably made about 150 quid once everything sells, probably definitely more than that actually. But yeah, it's a little bit more work than the car boots, but I'm just trying to get into the habit of not relying on the car boots every week to give me the stock for the week following, because eventually those car boots finish and you're left, you know, with nothing to do. So just be prepared. Those car boots will end eventually. So just, you know, prepare for the rainy days. Practice the method you plan on doing once the car boots finish. If that's charity shops, great. But I'm not one to get on with charity shops. I can never really sort of make anything out of charity shops. So I am going to be relying on Facebook Marketplace to get most of my stock over the winter. But yeah, let me know how you guys source products outside of car boot sales. Car boot sales is obviously the main one, but how else do you guys do it? Let me know. Is there anything I'm missing? How should I source in the winter? Let me know. But I think for the first week of sort of giving that a go, I think I've done all right. It's pretty good pickups so far. Some of it's a bit naff, some of it will go in the bin, but it is what it is. There's one method that I know no one really uses, and I'm going to make a video on that going out in the next couple of days, so stay tuned. It is completely free of charge. You find stock completely for free. There is risk free, completely no risk at all to your capital. Yeah, it's a really good one, so stay tuned for that, and I'm going to go over what that is in a video very shortly, so stay tuned. That one's coming up, but until then, like the video and subscribe. Cheers guys, take care.